Hey, Jerome. I know there were extenuating circumstances yesterday with the score and some of the behind the chains situations, but do you feel like the run game is still a priority given all the changes that have taken place on that side of the ball?
Yeah, I think the run game always going to be a priority, and I think our coaches and our O line. I think everybody loves to run the ball, but like you said, certain situations.
Thanks.
All right, if you have a question, raise your hand. All right, next we'll go to Jeff.
Hey, Jerome, when did you guys feel the game was kind of getting away from you?
Um, Probably midway through the fourth. The game's never over. Anything can happen. We saw it a bunch of times where you can be down a few scores, but you can still turn the game around. I felt like we all team wise coaches, we all have that fight mentality no matter what. So no matter what's going on in the game, we're going to always, try to kind of, fight to the end. Like you saw at the end of the game, we still punched in a touchdown, um, just to show that fight that we have.
Thank you.
All right, next we'll go to Ashley.
Hey, Jerome. I mean, just as far as running in general, like this is probably common sense, but isn't it, it's so much more difficult to run when you guys get into an early deficit, isn't it? And when you have all those penalties on top of it and you're getting that far behind the chains, does that just totally, I guess, kind of upend that part of the game plan and you guys have to figure things out in the moment?
I don't think so. I think you just kind of let's get a play call from coach, whatever it is, run a pass, and we follow the plan that's in place. Me personally, I feel like I'm a gear in a big system, and just making sure that I do my job, whether it's pass, whatever play is called in, I just make sure that my gear is turning, and if we all individually make sure the gears are turning, the machine will work.
Thank you.
All right, next we'll go to Daryl.
Yeah, Jerome, in the first half, just why do you think it was so difficult for you guys to really find a rhythm and a tempo and really be able to put some drives together? It just seems very rare for you guys to have that many three and outs the way you did.
Just execution. As a team, we didn't execute too well on the little things, and we're gonna work forward to doing that a little bit, well, a lot more, going into this next week.
And those two drives, those two touchdown drives in the second half, um, can that help you guys going forward? Just kind of give you maybe a little, momentum after a rough half. You come out in the second half and you're at least able to put a couple of touchdown drives on the board.
Definitely. Just showing ourselves that we can do it and that we're fine, and just taking that second half and pushing it into next week when we play the Jags.
All right, next we'll go to Spencer.
Hey, Jerome. Obviously, yesterday, all around, I think you guys probably looking back, feeling like there wasn't a lot that went well. But specific to Deshaun, who took a beating yesterday, got hit 17 times, obviously sacked the six times. Just what was his demeanor like in the huddle as that game kind of drew on? And he's obviously somebody you guys look at as a leader. But when things weren't going well, just what was he kind of like in the huddle throughout the game?
He's a warrior, hand bleeding. You just seeing him take those hits. Of course, we don't like it. We don't want him to be hit. And we as a team, wide receivers, running backs, offensive line, we all have to make sure, wide receivers on their hots, O line making sure, me and the O line, we making sure that we have it picked up. And he's just a warrior, man. Just even when we down, just making sure, like, come on, guys, let's go, like, get on the ball, let's do it, like, move fast. Even when we down that much, just seeing him work, and, seeing him fight for those extra yards, take hits from, some of the best DNs in, our league. It just shows you what kind of guy he is.
Thanks, Jerome.
All right, next we'll go to Scott.
Hey, Jerome, kind of following up that about Deshaun. It's been a while since he's played at that elite level that he was used to playing at. How confident are you guys that he can still get back to that level?
Very confident. I don't think anybody has lost confidence in Deshaun in this building. And, we're gonna continue to put our faith in them. And, we'll be able to show, well, he'll be able to show everybody that he can still, he can still do it. And, it's coming soon.
And you said his hand was bleeding at some point yesterday?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
All right, next we'll go to Ashley.
Just to follow up on that, Jerome, I mean, with this offense as a whole, obviously you guys have changed a lot of things, but how confident are you guys that even though week one it wasn't seamless, that it'll look like how you guys envision it can look?
It's 16 more games to go, 16 plus. You know, we pretty much just taking it one week at a time. We buried the Cowboys game today, and this week we just got our head focused on the Jaguars and what we can do better, to make sure that we have a better game this week.
Thanks.
Hey, Rodney. Just wondering, Myles Garrett after the game cited a lack of communication on the part of, I guess he was talking about on the part of the players while they were on the field. I'm not really sure, but just wondering, in your view, what was going wrong on defense, and if there were communication issues, how can you guys get those corrected?
Yeah, I think he may be speaking to one play in particular on the touchdown, the first touchdown, I believe more so. There's just a communication issue, but it's very fixable. Of course, we understand that communication is paramount, and it will make or break a game. It affects the outcome. And so, we're understanding that communication has to be very sound, make sure everybody gets it. And, like I said, we were able to look at the film today, be honest with ourselves on what took place. But yeah, there was that. There was also, some other errors in there that we had defensively. First game, first time, all being present. So you had to understand some of that was going to take place. But like I said, we're focused on how we can continue to improve and prepare and be ready for next week.
Thank you.
All right, next we'll go to Scott.
Hey, Rodney, I wanted to follow up on Mary Kay said and then ask you something else. The miscommunication on that touchdown, it looked like Greg was really trying to signal. Was it as simple as Juan just didn't see that because Juan was looking in the other direction?
It's as simple as not everybody was on the same page. And in the secondary, when one of us is not on the same page, that bad things can take place. And so, our job is to make sure we are all on one accord. We're all playing the same coverage to eliminate any explosives or eliminate what took place on that first drive.
And then you've been around for so long, but how do you get guys not to overreact to one loss, especially when it's the opener?
Yeah, I think understanding that there are 16 games left, but quite frankly, those are only games that were promised. And so, yeah, we wanted to have a better outing yesterday as a team. We fell short of victory, but this is something for us to not necessarily hang our heads down about or be discouraged or think any less of ourselves. It's more of a self-reflection day. Let's look ourselves in the mirror, figure out what went wrong, what contributed to that outcome, and how we can ensure that those things don't take place again, as we proceed into week 2 and we go throughout, these remaining 16 games.
Thanks.
All right, next we'll go to Chris.
Hey, Rodney, you mentioned something in one of your answers to Mary Kay about, you hadn't been all together, during the preseason, and there was still some communication to build up. Do we sometimes take for granted the fact that, I mean, we talked a lot about the returnees and this defense being pretty much intact from last year. Do we sometimes take that for granted that there is still, even though you've been playing together, there is still that preseason kind of reacquaintance almost that you have to go through?
I believe, any defense that you're on, year 1, or year 10 into a defense, communication errors take place. Those things are going to happen. The best defenses, they don't happen, right? Or there's very minimal in which they occur. And so we have to, right, protect our crown. We understand who we were last year. One of the things that we did well was we communicated at a high rate. And so this is just a learning lesson from us, for us. And I know, we'll do better. We've proven that. And so we take great pride in executing at a high rate.
Thank you.
All right, next we'll go to Ashley.
Hey, Rodney, I mean, you obviously have so much experience in this defensive system, and Jim has talked with us about, because of the aggressiveness of it, sometimes you can be prone to giving up those chunk plays. I guess, so what is the antidote to that in this system for you guys as a defense?
For us, it's all about just, eliminating explosives, rush and cover work hand in hand. We rely on our engine. That's who we identify as our D line, to apply pressure up front, make quarterbacks uncomfortable. And then for us in the back end, playing tight coverage that don't necessarily allow for those explosives to take place. And everybody just being in the right spot at the right time. And trusting one another. So, for us, it's just, making sure all three levels are playing on one accord. We're locked in, and that, our engine will drive us.
Is it the same thing too, just like looking at some things the Cowboys did with pace and rollouts and things like that, where they were kind of trying to neutralize the guys up front, creating that pressure? Is it the same thing about rush and coverage working together to maybe counter opposing offenses?
Yeah, I believe like Dallas' scheme yesterday, they wanted to eliminate the pass rush. So they relied on quick gain. They relied on Dak getting outside the pocket. We did. The explosives that they attempted. I think we had the ability to intercept one that they tried to throw to 88. Another one with Ward where it was tight coverage. That's a 50-50 ball. And I think it was just one in the end zone for miscommunication. So, I like, what we did yesterday as far as there were very minimal explosives done through the air.
Thanks, Rod.
Yeah.
All right, next we'll go to Daryl.
Rodney, I know it's a team game and you focus on when you're out there, you have a job to do, but just in that first half, those short offensive series, I think there were 7 consecutive short offensive series, 3 or fewer plays. Just what impact did that have on you guys? Was there a cumulative effect that from not getting a lot of time on the sideline between series?
No excuses. For us, our job is to defend every blade of grass, protect our end zone, and defend it accordingly. And whatever the job is assigned to us, that's what we have to do. And so that's our approach every time we take the field. We control what we can control. And so what we have full control of is, them crossing our end zone. And, they did that twice yesterday, twice too many. And we know, what led to that. And so, we'll continue to just work through and look at the film and evaluate how we can prevent those 2 touchdowns from occurring.
And after a loss like that, obviously it's easy to focus on the negative, but want to flip the script here. Just what positively did you see yesterday that you can build on and you can take forward going into Jacksonville in subsequent weeks?
Positive things, guys playing with a very high spirit, guys playing with great effort. We challenged them. We made plays, going in every statistical category, they were, listed number 1. And so, for us to go out and really after, let's say those 2 touchdowns, them having very minimal offense, a lot of adjustments were made. We self-corrected, we stayed together, and man, we fought to the end. And so those are the things that you can build off of. The character of the defense and the identity, was there. And so when you have that fight and other things that took place, those are all things that you can win with moving forward.
All right, next we'll go to Daniel.
Hey Rodney, I was curious, you guys pride yourself on, playing that man coverage, being sticky on the back end so much. And obviously like teams watch film, they're aware of that. How much of, part of the wrinkles, the changes, the change ups that you also spoke about, was like maybe changing the picture post snap. 'Cause I know there was one play where you guys showed like a cover zero look and then you drop back in a cover three, or I believe it was. Like how much is it, maybe changing up those looks, but still doing what you want to do as a defense?
Yeah, for us, we are an attack defense. People understand we're a man defense, and so there's many things that we do to be able to create indecision, right? With the quarterback, you have to have a changeup, and so that's Jim Schwartz, doing what he does best. We trust in him, and so the calls obviously vary at times, but when we do switch it up is more so to create some indecision, get the quarterback to hitch, to be able to, make a play.
Thank you.
All right, next we go to Jeff.
Hey, Rodney, when guys don't play in preseason games, how difficult is it to just jump right in there in that full game speed and play like you want to?
I think it really just depends on the player, right? We all know what we need in order to ensure that we're ready on Sundays, and if you see a lot of different strategies throughout the league. There are several teams who don't play their starters at all. The Rams, I know, their starters don't hit the field preseason at all, but their practices are structured accordingly to make sure that the guys are getting the reps that they need, and that they're well conditioned and ready, come regular season. So, we've taken that similar approach. Some guys have played throughout the preseason, several starters and other guys haven't. But at the end of the day, we're all professionals. We know what our body needs, what we need mentally to ensure that, we're ready when the regular season starts.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and last one from Mary Kay.
Yes, Rodney, what did you think of Deshaun Watson getting up time and time again after getting hit 17 times, staying in the game when Kevin thought about taking him out? And then also, were you aware that he went into the game having lost his dad, having lost one of his very close friends? And maybe what did you learn about him overall yesterday?
A warrior. I was unaware that he did have those losses, as we approach this game, and so I can only imagine the mental strain and that he was up against, on top of what was required of him, from this team. And I think he just showed his resilience and his commitment to the team, and being able to continuously get up, continue to show up and fight, and try to will us to a win. So my respect, a lot of respect for D4, and definitely praying for him, as he grieves for some of the recent losses.